All right, getting things started on Twitch, giving YouTube a quick chance to catch up here for a second and making certain that our audio is working at this point in time. Let me just double check that real quick. Okay, that's working pretty well. And one more check of YouTube just to make certain that everything is working. So as of right now, so far so good. It is Friday night. If you are joining us, maybe taking a look around from one of the football games out there. Okay, that's good. We are good to go on that. So welcome to everybody on Twitch and also on our YouTube channel for tonight. And as a brand new surprise, let's see if this is going to work here. And we'll start off with welcoming all of our listeners and viewers into and around the area on Instagram. If everything is working properly, that's where I've got everything loaded up here on the phone. So to everybody on Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram, welcome. This is Weather Overtime. It's our online video weather blog from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Anna, keeping you updated with what is going on with the weather situation into the course of the rest of the weekend. So if you have any plans for outdoors around the Tennessee River Valley or beyond, it is going to be, again, a little bit on the hot side for this time of the year. If you've never joined us here before, this is our online video weather blog. What does that mean? It means that if you have the opportunity to participate, if you want to ask questions about what's going on with the weather here or elsewhere, we'll do our best to answer those questions for you. We may not be able to get to them immediately, but we'll do our best to do so. We've got the chat function open on, pardon me, my screens are having issues here for a second. I wish we could, okay. I'm going to have to talk to our engineering staff here about getting this thing fixed, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Okay, for right now, that was for everybody on YouTube and Instagram. So clearing things out into tonight, less in the way of cloud cover. If you got a question on Twitch, YouTube, or Instagram, drop your comments, say hello, or again, just poke your head in for a little bit and say hi. You can drop those to the chat function on either system that we are on at this time. We're on most weekday nights at about 9:45 Eastern Time to give everybody a chance to tune in and find out more about what's going on with the weather. We'll have the 7-day forecast here for you in just a little bit. We'll also have a little bit more in regards to what is going on with the tropics. If you have any questions about that, stay tuned for more. And of course, you can get more on our website down at the bottom of the screen, wdef.com, or going directly to our section directly at wdef.com/weather if you'd like to see more, which is also where we post the repeat performances of our weather blog here. So definitely want to stay tuned again for more on that. And again, hopefully a quiet weekend coming up. Arachnophobes, you may want to look away at this point in time. So just want to point that out just in case this bothers anybody. A view of an orb weaver spider, if I'm not mistaken about the correct term of this, sent to us by News 12 viewer Susan Waybrandt from Delano, Tennessee. Thank you very much for a beautiful view. These guys don't call the exterminator. They help to capture a lot of insect activity out there that, again, would be overall not beneficial to anybody. Anything in the way of mosquitoes, things like that, they'll take care of them, and they weave some very large and ornate webs. So something to be seen out there with a little bit of some excellent web weaving work. If you've got weather pictures out there, spider oriented or otherwise, go ahead and send them in to us at pictures@wdef.com. Email, drop them to our website, wdef.com/photos, or drop them to the rest of our social media pages. I'm on a whole bunch of other social media pages. The station's on Facebook, Twitter, or again, Instagram at these locations. So please stop by and find out a lot more there, and stay tuned for more pictures through next week. 95 the high, came within 4 degrees of a record high temperature that hasn't been broken in 101 years. and a record low, wouldn't that feel nice, of 40 set back in 1889. That's about, if I'm not mistaken, the same year that we started keeping records for Chattanooga around this area. A low temperature this morning, pretty close to normal, about 66 degrees. Nothing in the way of precipitation, and this right here is where we're getting into the problematic conditions for right now. This again, we have a quarter of an inch for the month. We need 10 times that amount just to catch up to where we need to be. We are behind by nearly 10 2/3 inches. We should be over 30 inches at this time for the year, so we are desperately dry across much of the area, and we're going to need a lot more help in getting some more in the way of rainfall into and around the area. So this is not great news for being outdoors, and not great news for anybody out there doing anything outdoors this weekend. Very dry, very dusty. 79 degrees at the airport. Calm winds, temperatures again in the high 70s. It's a beautiful evening. It's perfect for Friday night football. Winds very light, very much on the dry side, so not much in the way of anything involving problems for anything in the way of huge amounts of rainfall out there for right now. So that is looking good into this evening. What does the rest of the weekend look like? We'll have that forecast for you coming up here in just a little bit. Temperatures not bad by 10 o'clock Eastern time. 60s, that's nice, back toward North Carolina. A few upper 60s in north central Georgia, and everybody else back in the high 70s to the lower to mid 80s for the most part. Scottsboro, Alabama, would somebody please check your thermometer at the airport, because you've been having a lot of problems in the last several weeks and months. I think your thermometer is more than ready to come out of the oven at this point. Regional temperatures looking about the same, very much on the warm side with this heat dome over parts of the Tennessee River Valley, so not much going on here, and probably won't be again through the rest of the evening and into the rest of the forecast for the next couple of days. So looking very much dry and quiet for right now. Let's take a look and see. I'm trying to see around my phone here because I don't have a good way of placing this thing for Instagram, so I have to be able to show you a little bit more about what you're looking at with the phone, looking at the monitor, which is routing another monitor source into it. This is what happens when you're a one-man band, camera, audio, production, directing the whole shebang here for Weather Overtime, our online video weather blog. Let's go ahead and get into what's going on for the weekend. This is, again, a look at what's going on for the continental U.S. Very quiet, little if anything going on across the southeastern United States. The wind barbs moving on through, showing that animation about where the winds are the strongest, and it's definitely not here. We do have a few thunderstorms in advance of this latest cold front, which will not be a help to us at all anytime soon for the News 12 viewing area here around Chattanooga. It'd be nice to get some rain in here. It doesn't look like that's going to be happening anytime soon. Any of these storm systems will basically be kind of going north of us and just washing out in the atmosphere. There's really not that much that's going to be giving us any hope of any rainfall anytime soon. So we're stuck with this very dry pattern. The next best chance of anything happening will be coming in from way out west. That again toward next week. We'll show you that forecast coming up here in just a little bit. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and go to the maps and show you more about what we are looking at. Saturday morning, mid-60s to lower 70s for low temperatures. Saturday afternoon, a stretched out area of low pressure may drift through. That was one of the cold fronts, but not much left, and that's not going to help our temperatures anytime soon. Into Sunday morning, the computer models get very overeager when you have a great big dry area like this. The computer models sometimes take a look at any proportion of cloud cover and a little bit of moisture out there and say, oh, that must be rainfall. Well, it's not. I don't think we're going to see anything in the way of rain anytime soon. So this is the computer just a little bit too overeager to place the rainfall around anytime soon. For Sunday afternoon, that front tries, but it does not get anywhere close to us. So Sunday afternoon, temperatures once again in the lower to mid 90s. Monday morning, getting the kids back to school and you back to work, high 60s to lower 70s with a few clouds mixed in. Monday afternoon, as the kids head home, again, the computer gets pretty overeager in dropping our temperatures in the hopes that we might get hit by a rogue shower or thunderstorm. That also is just a little bit premature. So as we get into Tuesday, though, that is where this next system might actually have enough oomph to actually make its way through all this doldrum type activity here. Not going to cool off. Temperatures in the high 60s to lower to mid 70s by early Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon, again, I'm looking at temperatures maybe dropping a little bit, but high 80s to right about 90 degrees. I think Tuesday afternoon would be a good possibility. Then the chances of showers and thunderstorms may increase as that system sticks around. And by Wednesday, we might see Tuesday into Wednesday, that'll be our next best chance of anything involving a good possibility of chances of showers and thunderstorms. Minimal, but still our best chance from what we have seen in quite some time. So that's about as good as it gets for anything involving rainfall around here anytime soon. The next 6 to 10 days from the Climate Prediction Center is actually giving us a lot of above normal temperatures well back to our west, but we are going to, through the last few days of the month, it looks like things are going to moderate a little bit. Note, I did not say cooler, but at least we won't be quite as record high, blazing hot temperature-ish as what we're seeing out west. Not good news for the firefighting efforts all the way across the American West. It would be nice, but we're just not picking up much of anything out there. The big question for right now is, what are we looking for in the way of rain? The next 30 days from the Climate Prediction Center is showing right down the middle normal, which is not what we need. As of right now, given the fact that there are about, give or take, about 10 weeks left in the year, we need about an inch to an inch and a half of rainfall every single week from now until the end of the year, just to make up and catch us up to normal. This right here is not helping us because, again, normal is going to just put us basically farther behind. Much drier back to the north and west of us, much more moisture down to the south, and that'll be the best chance of rain that we get out there, again, for the time being, which, again, is really not good news because if you saw this earlier, the United States Drought Monitor, working with NOAA, and I believe it's the University of North Carolina, to plot out where the worst drought conditions are located due to rainfall and a lot of other patterns out there. We are now in a extreme 4 out of 5 drought situation again this year. This is the second time this has happened in the last year. If I'm not mistaken, 4th or 5th time we've been in this in the last 2 to 3 years, somewhere in there at least. So this right here is saying that an extreme drought situation exists across much of the Tennessee River Valley. We desperately need that rainfall for right now. Whether or not we get that is, again, for the time being, just very low chances of anything like that happening. Maybe the tropics will help us out, maybe not. We'll have to watch on that, and we'll take a look at that coming up here in just a little while. Let's take a look and see what's going on. Let's change our camera here on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam network from Island Cove, Lake Chickamauga on the Tennessee River. Clouds, a few of them out there, mostly clear skies for now, and some beautiful views looking back to the west. Hopefully some good stargazing for this entire weekend coming up. A few clouds. It's going to be mainly just hot and dry out there for now. Summer, the last day of summer is tomorrow, Saturday or today if you're watching the repeat on our website. Last day of summer will feel like it with temperatures back into the mid, possibly the upper 90s. The first day of autumn begins 8:43 a.m. Eastern Time, and it's not going to feel like autumn, unfortunately. I don't know about you. I mean, if you like summer season, that's great. I'm more of a winter myself, not just because I would like to get my KU letter jacket out and wear it at some point in time without melting, but also it's almost soup and stew season, time for baking breads. Getting a good frost in here to take care of the ragweed would really help some things out by just a little bit, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. We do see the chance of some rain coming up Tuesday into Wednesday, maybe some thunderstorms in here, and the extra clouds and the rainfall might drop the temperatures a little bit by filtering out some of that sunlight, but this is about as good as we can do, and by this time next week, this will be about the average regular high temperature for this time of the year. So that's about as good as it gets. Little, if anything, expected at this time to really drop our temperatures. Maybe some lower 60s for lows next week, but I don't see any 50s, let alone any 40s, and maybe even, dare I say it, some 30s coming up, but that does not appear to be likely for now, so not much good news coming our way again anytime soon. Again, hopefully that'll change at some point. All right, going out into the tropics, nothing forming nearby. As we look at what is left of Tropical Storm Gordon, the National Hurricane Center has been tracking this now for over a week, and there was a pretty good chance earlier that Gordon was going to regenerate. That appears to not be happening because the only thing we have now is basically just a 10% chance. Let me just double check here on another monitor to make certain there's nothing else going on. Okay, Gordon's still hanging on at 10%. The storm system just south of Bermuda, that one also looks like it's about a 10% shot, which is not great. A lot of dry air around this area of the Atlantic, so just not much good news for anything going on here. If anything were to regenerate, it would be called a fish storm. These storms would be bothering nobody but the fish, so they are not seeing any major concerns with this out there. Now, going a little further over to the west, closer to home, this is going to be interesting to watch because in the next few days we could be seeing, and that has now been upped to 60%. So a very good possibility that somewhere in this area from the Bay of Campeche all the way down into the Western Caribbean, we could be looking at a new storm system here. The problem is that the models are not in good agreement. Showing a possible development, yes. Showing where this thing is going to be going, they're all over the place. So if you're planning a trip between, say, Houston and Tampa, St. Pete, for my wife's relatives down around St. Petersburg, around Sarasota, I would be watching this just to be on the safe side. But for right now, this is what we're going to be looking for. Timing this out into the next several days, it will be possible, not immediately. Again, the timestamp up here, we should be seeing something happening as we go into the end of the weekend toward about the Western Caribbean and then into the early to mid part of next week. That is where we see the potential of maybe a possible system developing here, and that is where we might see, again, the temperatures of the Gulf are way above normal. Climate change doing a very good job of bumping the numbers up. Some of the temperatures in the Gulf are over 90 degrees, not the air temperature, but the water temperature, and that is rocket fuel to these storms. So if all the gears mesh together and it comes into place, we could be looking at a possible active system coming up as we head into the later portion of this next week. So this is something that we are really going to have to watch, especially if you were planning on traveling anywhere to around the Gulf Coast. Again, Houston, I would say all the way to the Keys, watching this with a lot of interest. The reason we talk about this is the fact that if you're heading to someplace, you're taking a beach vacation or something like that, business trip, whatever, that's great. But you do not want to be heading into an area where this is going to be heading toward you. So you just have to U-turn and get back out of the way of this system to where evacuation orders could be posted. Not the greatest place to be. So this is something to really consider. Your weather safety, you need to be weather aware, especially if you are traveling. Please, again, use extreme caution and just be as up to date on the weather forecast as possible to make certain that you are ready to go for anything that happens. Now, speaking of readiness, doing some extracurricular activity here, I want to talk about this. We are covered by 4 National Weather Service stations in this area, covering the News 12 viewing area: Nashville, Huntsville, Peachtree City, Georgia, and Morristown, Tennessee, which covers most of southeastern Tennessee. If you've never been able to make a National Weather Service Skywarn training session as a volunteer storm spotter because of schedule conflicts or just, again, health concerns, anything like that, the National Weather Service in Morristown has got a great program available. It's a virtual Skywarn spotter training course. And if you've never seen this before, you can find out more at our website at wdef.com/weather. Scroll down beneath the forecast on the page and you can see more. Or you can find out more at their website, weather.gov/mrx. Take the course. pass the quiz, become a Skywarn spotter, register with the National Weather Service, and you'll be able to find out a lot more in regards to what's going on with severe weather out there. This is just one thing that NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, does on a regular basis. There's a lot of static out there these days, especially political, that NOAA is the cause of climate change talk. So if we eliminate NOAA and give NOAA's duties to a private forecasting firm, we will have solved the climate change hoax, so to speak, as some people call it, unfortunately, and we will have nothing to worry about where it comes to climate change because NOAA gets zip-lipped. Well, that's a very, very poor attitude to have, and that is a very short-sighted attitude to have as well, thinking about just that fact that NOAA does so much more than study climate change. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's less true that climate change is actually happening. Something else, again, that you would like to know about when it comes to more about what's going on with weather. This next week, if you've ever considered a degree in meteorology, atmospheric science, climatology, anything like that, if you would like to know more about storm chasing, safely storm chasing, this is the online weather panel, a webinar for you that will be taking place on Zoom Tuesday the 24th, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's Make Your Weather Passion a Reality, a panel discussion with the experts. This is brought to you by the American Meteorological Society, their weather band program at ametsoc.org. It is also brought to you by the female-led storm chasing group Girls Who Chase. Some of the panelists that are going to be on here: Ginger Z, the chief meteorologist for ABC News; Elizabeth Lightman, who's a forecaster at the Storm Prediction Center. Very neat explanations from her on social media in regards to how and why the Storm Prediction Center issues the watches and warnings that they do. Very informative lady there. Karen Kosiba, Managing Director of the Dow facility, Dow, D-O-W, Doppler on Wheels. That's that flatbed truck that they drive out into the great outdoors to get radar pictures of storms close up. And also Melanie Metz, a veteran chaser and photographer. This is a great opportunity to learn from people who have been there before, who have the experience, who might be able to answer some questions for you. So please think about joining. It is not an active Q&A back and forth. It's more like a Reddit AMA, Ask Me Anything. So if you would like to submit your questions beforehand, you've got until I think about noon on the 24th. So if you'd like to participate, send your question in, and hopefully they can answer a little bit more about that. But a great opportunity on there to know more. Also, one more thing regarding the National Weather Service and NOAA. The National Weather Service in Morristown will be holding an open house coming up the last Saturday of September, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'm going to try to get up there to this. Getting into a National Weather Service office for something like this is very rare. So if you have the opportunity to do this, if your kids, your grandkids are interested in weather, great opportunity to get some questions answered by the meteorologist and specialist at the National Weather Service. You'll be able to watch a balloon launch. You can tour the offices, speak with core partners of the National Weather Service. Law enforcement, emergency managers depend on the information that the National Weather Service provides. That's under the umbrella of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. That is just one more thing of what #WhatNOAA does. If you'd like to know more about this, there's no pre-registration, but if you'd like to find out more, you can go to their website, again, weather.gov/MRX, or you can head to our website, wdef.com/weather, to be able to take a look and see what else is going on out there. All right, let's do one more thing here before we get too far on there. This is one of our sponsored pages. If you're a business who would like to get sponsored, who would like to sponsor one of our weather pages, please get in contact with our sales department. Today's weather question, weak, thin tornadoes, and I accidentally gave away the answer, unfortunately, earlier, but everybody voted, and the majority of you, 2/3, voted for rope tornadoes. What are weak, thin tornadoes usually nicknamed, called? narrow gauge, rope, or spaghetti, and rope is the correct answer. You can vote in our polls at wdef.com/vote now, or you can use the QR code on your screen to get there. And thanks to Friend and Roofing for being our sponsor on that. Really do appreciate everybody doing that to help out on everything. We do not have much going on. Again, Friday Night Football is basically in the books for tonight. Rick Nyman and Brian Armstrong will have more on your forecast coming up into tomorrow. One of our other weather sponsors, Island Cove Marina and Resort and Tracker Boats. Outdoors tomorrow, I would not take the umbrella unless you want to use it as a portable sunshade. But it's going to be hot out there, so take the extra water container. Always nice to have a spare one sitting around just to stay rehydrated, because it is going to be hot. It may not be too humid, but it is definitely going to be on the hot side out there. And that means that if you are going to be doing anything in the way of basically any outdoor activities, I would try to make certain that you are able to pay attention to what your body is telling you. Drink the water back, take breaks, and temperatures out there in the mid-90s with that sun pouring down. Sunblock and extra ice water would be a very good idea. And hopefully the only thing you have to worry about on the back nine is going to be the gophers out there. So again, please be cautious with that. Think that should do it for tonight. We've been on for just about our target time of about 30 minutes or so. Haven't seen any chats for YouTube or Twitch, but that's okay because it's Friday night. A lot of folks out and about doing their usual thing around the area, and getting into the weekend, things do have a tendency to get a little bit on the quiet side for Friday night. But if you'd like to know more about the forecast, we'll have more coming up on News 12 at 11 o'clock with myself and Andrew Harrison. Tonight is the abbreviated edition because it is we have a segment of weather, a segment of news, and then we go directly to sports. And then you've got about a half an hour of Friday Night Football tonight on Sports Overtime with Rick and Brian, if you'd like to see more about that. And you can watch online, don't forget, as well, at wdef.com. You check in with there and click on the Watch Live button, and you can see more about what is going on there. You can also watch and get on our website throughout the rest of the weekend. I'm on all of these social media pages, including lichess.org and chess.com, if you'd like to hit me up for a game of chess. I'm no grandmaster, but I do know my way around a chessboard, so if you'd like to stop by for a game of chess there, please do so. We'll have more on the forecast again throughout the course of the rest of the weekend, so stay tuned to our website for more details there. Chip Chapman will be back bright and early on Monday morning starting at 5 a.m., so stay tuned for his forecast there. And, of course, I'll be back. I'll be online through the weekend updating the website and keeping things updated there, but I'll be back on Monday afternoon to keep you updated as to what's going on throughout the rest of the month. Questions, concerns, ideas, complaints, if you absolutely must. Again, email address at the bottom of the screen, aonic@wdef.com. So contact me there. Hope you have a pleasant, happy, and please make it a safe weekend. Please remember, let's be careful out there. And we'll see more with you on the forecast again as we go into next week. Live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee. Southeast United States, Western, Northern Hemisphere, planet Earth, Milky Way galaxy. Zip codes in there someplace. Stay tuned for more with News 12 throughout the rest of the weekend, online and on air. And thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.